Good morning. It's good to be here. It's good to be seen. I'm Belinda with Just Be Yoga, and we're here for home yoga practice live. And hope that everyone is well. Please feel free to make a comment in the to let me know if you're here, how you're doing physically, spiritually, emotionally. Good morning, Deshawn. Oh, wonderful. Thank you all for your patience and understanding as over the weekend that I really was not feeling my best. And so I know we had some plans for some outside stuff. And in our current state, with the coronavirus, it just didn't feel wise to try to conduct a class where I could also be kind of the threat or something like that. Not a threat. Menace to the yoga. So welcome. Good morning, Claudia. So if you're new to our home yoga practice live, first of all, thank you for coming. And secondly, it is an evolving thing. I think that my first intention at the beginning of the coronavirus stay at home was helping people find ways to connect with their yoga in a deeply personal way, because ultimately that's what our yoga is. And then I started creating ways that we could have a thematic throughout the week to help guide people to feel as though they're progressing and learning. And, I think that's definitely where I still want to be, but I think that I also want to start to bring it into a bit of context of how do we navigate this right now? How do we make it meaningful in this era where we're feeling this barrage of maybe some stifled, stuck stuff from being stuck in our homes? Good morning, Erica. And as well as maybe some anxiety or anger or rage in our current state of civil unrest for our fight for justice and equality, as a person of color. And, I resonate with this deeply. And if some of you may know that I've written a blog post that's on Medium currently that explores okay, now how do we start to bridge this gap within our yoga practice? And unfortunately, what's a white culture and a communities of color culture, and what are those differences? And even by shining that light, did it create some discomfort at what's going on inside of ourselves? So I don't want to make that this palette here is some kind of little retreat, right? Our yoga isn't a retreat. Our yoga is a deep magnifying glass into what is. And so that means that, some of you have studied with me. Erica's one of them. I'm pointing at you on my screen. But we know that by the time we get to that third sutra and I say that then the seer can see themselves clearly, does not mean that we like what we see in that inner landscape. Now, I'm not saying that we want to use our yoga as a way to beat ourselves up either, but it's a way of coming into being wholly within ourselves, within our truths and within our untruths. And how do we move in a space of balance and equilibrium and unity from there? All right, so today, this theme this week are obstacles to practice. And I know that there's plenty, right? There's a butt ton. So the first one's really easy, and that's illness. Okay, so there I am, right? I was feeling all congested. My throat was not feeling the greatest, my voice. So illness can start to prevent us from finding our practice. We can have lethargy, right? I don't wanna. How many times have we all kind of felt that? Haste, I want to get through it. I'm going to get it. I'm going to get it done. Doubt, right? And there's certain postures that definitely put that in our faces where we go, I don't think I can do this. Oh, I've never been able to do that. And I'm just talking about the physical realm. But man, when we start to talk about levels of meditation, levels of connecting with our breath, we can certainly have doubt. We can even doubt the benefit of doing it at all, right? We can have our lack of enthusiasm. Yeah, I'm just doing it, going through the rote. We can want to quit because we can be I've done all that yoga can give me, so there's nothing more for me to explore and just want to let go. we feel like we're incapable of doing it, of going any further, and we lose our confidence. Being distracted, and lastly and importantly, arrogance, right? Arrogance or ignorance that, we think that we got it, that we know something. And how often, I mean, I do this, I'm calling myself out, think that you got something, you know something, and you instantly want to start telling everybody else how to do something and what you know, right? But all of those are blocks to our practice, to our obstacles, to our practice. And I just want to share something. If you're wanting to know what this is Heart of Yoga by Desikachar. He is the son of Krishnamacharya. Sorry to slam the book down in front of the mic. And so the only bit that I wanted to share with you is, as you can see, obstacles can consist of ordinary reality, such as physical illness, or they can be as subtle as an illusion of being better than you really are. When you become aware of that illusion that you've been harboring and look reality squarely in the face, it is unfortunately all too easy to then view yourself as smaller and less important than you really are. This leads to a loss of confidence. And, you may have reached a point that you've never reached before, but you lack the power to stay there, and you fall back and you feel like you're losing what you've gained. This is the humbling, some of the humbling part of the journey. And then to still want to keep moving. I like to say I need to let go of any notion that I am attaining any prize, right? There's no pot of gold at the end of a rainbow. We're practicing and then we're detaching, and we're practicing and we're detaching. And those are the paths to yoga. So I've got to let go of what it is that I think I'm going to be gaining and arrive again humbly back at the beginning. All right, that I thought I wanted to read another piece, but that was it. So our obstacles. So let's check in as we're checking in now, and I'll cycle through those obstacles again. So illness, and what do we need to do to honor where we are in our bodies with any illness, any injury. Check in with them and ask those body areas, okay, what do you need? How do I need to modify or moderate for you? Look at our lethargy and whether we've really wanted to commit to practicing. And I'm talking about rolling out your mat on your own. I'm not even talking about clicking on one of my videos or any video that's out there. When are we willing to meet ourselves alone, one-on-one? Our haste, our doubt, any arrogance that we've had, our lack of knowledge, wanting to quit. And start to allow your attention to just follow the breath. I'm not going to say a way to breathe. Just follow the breath. Can you distinguish the left side of your nostrils from the right? Let the breath help us guide our way back to just meeting ourselves where we are. When we get stuck in our head, just looking at the nuance and the nature of our breath, that's all. We don't have to do really in-depth, deep yoga practices, breath practices, in order to use it as a tool to come within. Let's breathe in and reach up. Exhale, bring it to center. So if you're new to Home Yoga Practice Live here, let's breathe in and sweep the arms up. I share various ways of moving, different asana. Exhale, bring it through. It may not look like a flow class if that's what you're used to. Breath in. This is a class that's going to help us develop tools to say, I could do this on my own. What am I connecting with when I do this? How do I bring intention, humility, a willingness to learn and explore? And I'm going to bring my left arm down and gently come over to the other side. Sorry, I get a little froggy still. Listening to that body wisdom. What are we connecting with mentally? Try not to force anything, just arrive, breathe in, coming back up. Exhaling it over to the other side. What's moving in our bodies, what isn't moving? Were we in a hurry in how we moved our bodies there? And then lifting it back up, breath in. And we'll split it open, offering the heart. What does being open feel like, look like? Bringing it back up and splitting it open to the other side. So using the breath as a tool to come out of that haste or come out of that lethargy. Bringing it back up and side bend. Using that breath to either come out of the arrogance or notice it. If we're noticing that we're getting bored, that's another form of arrogance, right? Often the flip side of something can reveal, oh, that was me thinking I knew something. And then coming on back up. It took me a while to want to slow down my practice and up and over. Some of you know that my power practice really began as a cross train for martial arts, for Tai Chi competition. And I loved the go, go, go of it because it was the opposite of Tai Chi. And then bring it up. And now, I don't know if it's age or wisdom or age, but the slowing down, splitting it open, has really helped me identify and notice my haste, right? That go, go, go. That's a bunch of haste. That's a bunch of, I want to hit the check mark boxes, right? And I've got it done. Bringing it back up and over. When I shy away from certain poses, I may cover it up with, I don't need to do that. But it's really doubt. Doubt that it has anything to show me. Makes me confront my impatience. And then I'm going to come on back up. Hands to prayer. Now, as far as a home practice, that might be all that we had time for today. Okay, and so the depth of what we bring and we connect mind and body in those movements, in those zones of the area, and what are we energetically moving, that's the value of the practice, is the intent that we bring to it. It isn't just, how many calories did I burn? How much sweat did I do? How much stretch did I feel? I'm going to lengthen my legs out. So take a moment and really kind of reflect on any of the obstacles, whatever one maybe grabbed out to you. Maybe you're going, wait, I don't remember them. Don't worry about it. I'll post it up a little bit later. Look at that obstacle and then think about, okay, how do I move past that? We need a teacher. Who are our teachers in life? And a gentle twist. Do we seek their counsel when we're running into one of our obstacles? Or do we switch out teachers so that we hear what we want to hear? Some truth bombing there, man. And then gently release and come on around to the other side. Breath is one that I've mentioned. And then, of course, if one of the obstacles is physical, how are you tending to that wound or that illness? And then let's come on back up. And I'm going to bend my knees here for the first time to come forward, letting the upper body go. Coming back to our mat. It can be a struggle. I notice when I get really close to some of my deep obstacles in my spirit, suddenly I'm too busy to keep coming back to my mat. And then bringing ourselves up. I'm going to walk my feet in, hands behind me, trying to do a counter posture, lifting the hips, keeping the gaze toward the knees, feeling the structure of my physical body, housing me, giving me solidity, lowering it down. Can I just keep going? Can I find the dedication? Listen to your breath. Fold forward, rolling it up. Now, I'm going to make my way through a few more cycles of this, and I would love it if everyone would find their own pace. If it resonates with you to do this, or if you want to do a different posture. Remember that this is me trying as best I can to try to find ways to make this a personal practice. For you to start to explore and paint outside of the lines. Scratch that. Paint outside of lines that I draw. But you paint inside of lines that you're drawing. That your spirit is drawing for you. And that means that you're willing to be with yourself. Your authentic self. Flawed. Beautiful in those flaws. Vibrant and alive with life. Notice how you're moving in your body, how you're carrying yourself. Hear your breath. I'm going to bring the bottoms of my feet together and say hello to my hips this morning. Be mindful that you don't have to bring the heels super close to the groin. We're respecting the body wisdom, your body wisdom, all right? So I haven't lived in your hips. I haven't lived in your knees. I want to have the spine nice and erect as a carriage for your energy, as a good conductor. So if we round the spine, then we're kinking the line, okay? Nothing against kink, but I'm just saying that we don't want a kink in the line. Okay. You see that Belinda needs to be around other people a little bit more. Let's press the inner thighs open if you wish and come forward. Feel what we feel. Notice the chatter in your mind. Distraction is one of those obstacles. You determine if you're being distracted. Do you even know what distraction is? Or do we live with so much constant distraction that it has become the default and we don't notice it? If we rely solely on guided practices, that's becoming reliant on the distraction of someone else telling us what to do. And I'll extend one leg out to the side if you want. Now I'm going to keep this heel further away from my groin. If you would like to have that foot against your thigh, go ahead. But my hip wants a little bit more opening. I'm going to bring one arm onto the long leg and This is a practice of self-discovery. And only you can do that work. Only you can dive in and look at the truths and look at the lies of what you're telling yourself in your head right now. Only you can know the intention behind your actions. Only you can see your thoughts. Gradually coming on back up or stay. I'm going to bring this leg in and come on over to the other side. If you're new to our home yoga practice, on Tuesday I go through kind of the philosophy of what we're doing to this week. A little bit more intention into some of the postures. Wednesday is more of an empowering practice. How do we bring a little bit more fire into it? All within the framework of that theme. And Thursday gets to be how to find a new edge, new discovery, going beyond the basics, beyond the easy. And Friday is foundations and fundamentals. Remember, use the breath as a focal point, helping you come out of whatever that obstacle is. Gradually coming up. And we'll make our way to hands and knees. Moving with intention, loving kindness. Your practice. Who are you? Who are you greeting here on your mat? Maybe we're just getting to know one another. I like to shift side to side and front and back, some elements of my Tai Chi that serve me well in my yoga, being present in transition. I'm just going to start to cycle forward, side, back, side, and forward. Feeling weight shifting from arm to knee to hip, transferring to the other side, changing direction. Now let go of hearing that and just actually feeling it. Noticing our breath and feeling it. If something is sensual and yummy, how do you treat it? How do you respond to it? If something is painful, uncomfortable, how do you greet it? How do you get to know it? How do you respect it? We'll make our way to a neutral space. A few cat and cow. Observe haste. Observe quitting. Observe that non-knowing ignorance. When we think, oh, this isn't going to help me. Right? This isn't any good. Illness or injury? Are you paying attention to anything going on in the vertebrae or the knees or the hips if you have an injury? Lethargy. Good. And we'll come to a neutral space. I'm going to reach my left leg back, my right arm forward. Now you can choose. You could say one limb suspended is more than enough. My first few times into these kind of balanced spaces are always very stuttery and wobbly. And I get to observe my mind, my judgment, and apply that into that arrogance column for myself, saying, oh, do you feel like you need to be looking like you're perfect? I'm not perfect. I'm just a person who practices yoga, who dares to share it, not to say I've mastered a damn thing. And that means I'm willing to share the flaw, share the mistake, Share the scary. I'm going to gradually bring both limbs down. I'm going to come up onto my knees because remember what I said about counterposing and finding that balance? Feels like this wrist needs a break. So I'm going to bring my hands to the low back, trying to settle my hips over my knees. Equilibrium, harmony, nothing out of balance. Hips forward, chest to the ceiling. And stay here. I noticed my haste, right? I'm remembering a space, oh yeah, I really love back bends. Yeah, but that was the yesterday back bend, and my body was like, you slow your roll and meet me here today. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, that's right, we're here today. Yesterday is gone. Feel my breath today in this space. How much can I occupy this space honestly and feel the transition, the spaces that are shifting already? And bringing ourselves up. Take your time. And we'll come on up back to the hands and knees, tabletop. A few cat and cows maybe. And then you could go ahead to the other side if that's your jam. My low back is asking for me to moderate and take my time as I come into this space. Excuse me. Now I'm going to explore how solid and suspended I can be, conducting energy out of that right leg. Left arm, and then feeling what is holding me up. My right arm and my left knee. It deserves my attention. It needs my attention. I love the humility of doing this long enough that it erodes anything in me that says I've got nothing to learn here. And then it also makes me confront the, I want to quit. And how I can like cover that up with a little bit of some arrogance, right? Oh, I don't need to do that. I could do something that's a little bit more difficult, a little bit more boastful, right? Ooh, yoga. And then I can bring that left arm down, right knee down. Once again, stay where you are if that's where you need to be. I'm going to bring myself up. When you're ready, finding another camel. Upward lift through the upper body. Feeling the bottom body giving you rooting and anchoring. Noticing if the mind is getting distracted and what are the tools we use to come back to your authentic self on your mat, not yourself here waiting to be guided. Start to guide yourself through this inner landscape. The inner landscape physically, inner landscape breath-wise. And child's pose if you like. So knees wide is a nice way to start. Get into the hips. Make space for the belly. Throughout the day, I start to narrow the inner thighs because my spine gets a little more acclimated to lengthening. But those early practices for me, I really need my low back to have some compassion. And embrace this as a posture. This isn't nighty-night time. What's lengthening, what's rooting in the physical body? Can we bring that notion into the mind? What's lengthening in our mind? What's getting spacious in our mind? And then what's rooting? What's taking root and taking hold? And what about that in our spirit? I'm going to reach my arms out in front of me, coming back up to hands and knees, spreading palms wide, middle finger facing the front of the room. Bringing as much of my awareness, my attention, my observation into my base, into my palms, asking them for that support as I talk the toes, lifting the hips up and back for down dog. Feeling my legs and my feet, my palms and my arms. My core is the engine that's lifting up toward the ceiling through the tailbone, letting the head go. And observe your attention. Where is it? What's in the way of you practicing yoking here, practicing connecting here? We'll look forward. Now you can bring a knee down and step your way up to the top of the mat, or take as many steps as you need to bring yourself up to the top of the mat. Breathing in, lifting the chest up. Exhale, let the upper body hang. Breathe in and lift. Where is your attention in your physical body and awareness of sensation? Exhale, let it go. Follow the breath, breathe in, follow your senses, breathe out. And then I'm going to round my spine up, exploring how slowly I can go and what I get to observe along that way, about how I move and carry myself in this physical frame. Breathe in, let's lengthen upward. Exhale, let the upper body go. Half flat back. I'm going to step my left leg back, keeping the right knee over the heel. You could walk your way up that right thigh. Feel the legs. How sturdy are they? What is our root and our base like? Before we bring action in our lives, have we established a foundation? Do we spend time with it? Do we know how to? That haste prevents us from really exploring what is rootedness, what is stability. Spinning that foot flat, opening myself. Warrior 2. Perhaps you want to scoop the tailbone under, sinking down, feeling this right thigh opening, feeling our base and its ability to bear this load and bear this weight with ease or distress. Check in on the obstacles. Do we have an injury or illness we need to be paying attention to? Do we have a lethargy? Do we have a haste? Do we have a doubt? Do we have an arrogance? Do we have a willingness to learn? Do we want to quit? What's already changed? Because where we are in this pose now and what we're experiencing is totally different than when we first got here. Are we starting to justify why we need to come out? Are we starting to justify why this isn't real yoga? Where's your mind? Use your breath. Notice the distraction. If we're getting angry, if we're getting frustrated, those are distractions from us in our authentic space. I'm going to bring my hand, I'm going to bring to the floor. If you'd like, you can let that elbow rest on the knee. Side angle. Feeling what changed in the hips and the inner thighs, what just said thank you. What's saying not yet in my body? What's saying not yet in my spirit? What's saying maybe in my breath? Possibility and capacity. Yoga helps us start to explore all of that. Possibility and capacity. Make sure that you're connecting, not dominating. Choose where you want the neck to be. And I'm going to bring both hands down. Spin onto the back toes. I'm going to step this left leg up. Half flat back breath in. Forward fold and let it go. Now you could do Uttanasana, and that's forward folding here. Maybe your hands are behind your calves. Maybe they're on the floor. Some of you may have a practice that takes you into Padangustasana or Padahastasana. And if you want to explore those, feel free. You could grab the big toes, inviting the top of the head toward the floor. Or Padahastasana would be bringing the palms underneath of the feet. Now, this doesn't mean that that's something you need to seek out. I'm offering them as spaces that if it's something that you are already exploring in your practice, if your body as you're navigating it is agreeable to it, if your spirit is agreeable that there's something new to learn here, go ahead. What's letting go and what's giving you root? I like to explore and remind myself that maybe I don't even know what rooting is. Maybe everything I thought I knew yesterday is gone, and am I willing to let that go and invite a new understanding, a new learning about rooting, about letting go? Because I am finding with age that oftentimes thinking I know is my obstacle to knowing anything. When you're ready, we'll step the other leg back. Keeping that left knee over the left heel. Navigating, once we're stable, on how to come up for Crescent Warrior. Feeling the state of my frame ready to carry me today, ready to hold me, to be a vessel for my actions and my words and my intentions. Using the breath to bring me right here. And I'm going to spin this right foot flat, but I'm going to turn now so that my back isn't to you guys. Ooh. And feel what I'm going to feel here. Arms could be open. Arms could be a prayer. You could be doing an entirely different pose. Maybe triangle is speaking to you. Maybe half moon. Maybe Prasarita Padottanasana, wide-legged forward fold. Remember, I'm not here to try to be a a dictator of you must do this first, this second, this third. Just the framework of, oh, but what are we actually practicing? And this week, the thematic is about these obstacles. And so, how do we bring our body and our breath and our mind present? So, I just sank there because I realized, I was holding, I wasn't yielding into the practice. Because letting go is just as powerful as doing. And sometimes that is what we need to be harnessing. Rather than go, 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 do. And doing can take the form of non-doing. So if you're ready and if you want, I'm going into that side angle. Feeling the feet rooting down, honor your knees and your hip. That right hand could be on your hip if you prefer. Breath. Paying attention to your neck. Gradually bringing both hands down, spinning onto the back toes, feeling that lunge. I'm going to bring the back knee down and step the left leg back. And prepare for a downward dog. Noticing my mind as I embrace that notion. And I'm right now trying to not think about the end position and how that's going to feel, but inviting the transition and the shifting, right? That gets me to that space. Feeling each piece of that. Activation and lengthening, yielding, feeling the process. The progression, being present in stages of progression. You can tilt the tailbone up and down. That's a lovely, yummy space. For me, may not be for you. Am I using one arm more than another? Is my mind still here, or did it run off to some other task? And what did I use for that distraction to bring myself back here? What's still lifting and what's rooting? What's letting go and what's activating? I'm going to bring my left knee down, stepping the right foot up. Now, if you want, you could put a block under your right butt. I'm going to sink back toward my left heel. Now, you can sit on that foot, so you could cross it underneath of you if you like. And come forward. Maybe point and flex through the heel and see what we feel in the back of the leg, low back, back of the neck. How do we invite some patience? Start to poke through the illusion that there is a destination. Squeeze inner thighs and breathe and be and notice. And when you're done with that, we'll find the other leg. So I'm just going to shift forward, like even not being in a haste, because transition is the yoga. How I move that leg back, how we bring the other leg forward, treating ourselves kindly, treating this foot, this ankle, this leg with kindness. Maybe a block underneath of your left butt cheek. Feeling the elevation of the head and neck, all of the sensory awareness that it brings, that brightness, and then allowing the upper body to fold over the bottom body. And then I'm even letting an itch be a little bit of a distraction. Try to remember to actively practice not letting itchy spaces be a distraction. Just let them be in my practice. And today didn't work. Ooh, you want to talk about confronting your tapas? Tapas, that heat building discipline. Resisting scratching an itch. Ooh, let me tell you. That's some serious hard yoga right there. If any of you have read Autobiography of a Yogi, that's one of the, sometimes I'm not in awe of the seemingly miraculous stuff about like making your heart stop and all that kind of stuff. But being forced to sit in your tent at night in India without a mosquito net, and that was a part of one of the yogi's guru's tasks of him, was to be in his tent overnight without mosquito netting and let the mosquitoes bite him. And what a practice that had to be, to kind of look at and observe our reaction, right? Because yoga helps us be aware of our reactive spaces and our distracted spaces. Woo! Yeah, I fail. All right, I'm going to shift it forward. I'm going to step this leg back and come to sitting. I'm going to cross one knee joint over another. Now, this is going to really depend on everyone's relationship with knees. You could sit in a regular cross-legged space if that's comfy. You could sit on a pillow or a block. But I am going to come into a bit of some Gomukhasana here, seeing if I can keep this right butt cheek down. Feel the spine. I love starting here with a twist. So I'm going to twist to my right. And just sit in the space of feeling my spine growing tall, rooting and lifting and ringing out. And breath. Try not to grip the groin or the pelvis. And we'll come on back to center. And we'll pat ourselves on the back with the right hand. Now I like to really find and explore lengthening through this left arm before either bending it up and behind to grab a hold. You could always take a strap, or you could just take the left hand up and find the top of that right elbow. So whichever works for you, I'm going to feel out. An old shoulder injury has been feeling aggravated in this right shoulder. So I want to just kind of see, okay, is it happy here? Is it not? And in your time, when you're ready, we'll come forward. Breathing in. Breathing out. Where's your mind right now? What are certain body areas telling you about ease or distress? Use the breath. Releasing the arms whenever you're ready. Bringing ourselves upright. And I'm going to change the cross of my legs. Still paying attention to how I'm treating the body. Ooh, got a little headache. Wide open throat. Feeling the hips accepting where we are on this side. I'm feeling a little non-acceptance. If you want to twist, great. If you want to go to the arms, great. If you want to do something entirely different, great. It's your practice. So my hope here at Home Yoga Practice Live is that there are nuggets and bits that you're all integrating in your home practice, and that you're finding time, that you've made space that's yours for practice. Have a journal that you're writing in, like, oh, wow, this is what I confronted about obstacles and how it relates to you. It could be something about how you're behaving at work. It could be something about how you're denying yourself your dreams. It could be something about how you're holding fears and anger in our current climate. It could be about your manicure. I don't know, but it's yours. Because if we never start to explore these elements, it'll always be a fitness class or something that's being projected from someone else onto you. And then you never get the opportunity to start to dive in and peel away the layers of your practice. Getting to know yourself, even if you only got to have a glimpse. At least you got that. At least you started to find that journey. Getting honest about what's in the way. And then let's not beat ourselves up about it. We're just stepping gently and practicing again. Feeling the transitions, feeling the gradual progressions, and the going backwards, right? Because that's a part of the path. So maybe you haven't dedicated to a practice in a while. Maybe we've used that as an obstacle to coming and meeting ourselves on our mat. Notice the busyness in your mind. For me, it was I was just fighting forever to try to keep my fingers together. And I realized, oh, Belinda, just let that go. Eventually bringing ourselves upright. And I'll find a seated space. All right, so yet again, I'm Belinda with Just Be Yoga here with our home yoga practice live. And especially if this is new for you, if you're like, well, where's the inversion and where's the Shavasana? I haven't broken any yoga rules. And if I did, so what? This is hopefully giving tools. So today our theme was looking at the obstacles that get in our way from finding practice. The things that we say to ourselves, the things that are going on physically, and the subtle things, as Jessica Char had written from that quote that I read you. So our physical illness and our injuries, our haste, our doubt, giving up, quitting, our arrogance and our ignorance, I confront that. I confront that a lot. Even just now when I was refusing to really want to let go of the hands, I realized that, so much fixation on this camera thing that I myself is, having the haughtiness to actually want to be out here on a camera on the interwebs and say, all right, we're going to talk about some yoga. We're going to teach some yoga. And I get worried about, how are other yoga teachers going to evaluate me? Because, right, we got that judgment lens. We really don't know how to meet each other where we are. We judge each other like crazy. We're judging each other like crazy right now. And like, are you accepting enough? Are you tolerant enough? Are you diverse enough? Right? We're in that judgy space. And so I fear that judgment. So, well, maybe I'm not being good enough. I've got to show the perfect. I got to let that go because I wanted to show that I'm working my practice. And for me, my practice has a lot of compassion because I need that as a survivor of trauma, as a person who lives through a lot of complex trauma, as a person who really is trying to live a peaceful life, man. Man, I want to be peaceful. Then I got to do it. And I got to do the hard stuff, and that means I got to show when I'm flawed. So we're going to close with a quiet space. Feel the physical body and the breath and the mind. And your wisdom. Feel the space all of your awarenesses are coexisting in right now. And let it go. Hands to the heart center if you wish to join. How about 3 ohms? Wide open throat. Trying to relax the diaphragm, inviting our awareness of our existence in a vibrational way. Living as vibrational energy. So it isn't singing. Okay, so it's just kind of letting almost this guttural connection to a resonant vibration that has existed since the beginning of time. And even if you don't believe it, like, can you just dip your toes into the water? So if you wish to join 3 ohms, knowing that the sound wave of my vibration is going to intersect with the sound wave of your vibration at some point in time, and boom, we are one. How about that for some woo-woo, right? All right, single breath in. and to the heart center. I want to thank all of the teachers who have come before me. Thank all of the teachers who are here with me now. And all of the teachers who have yet to come. We invite them. Namaste. Thank you everyone for joining. I'll put up a few notes about those obstacles, and I hope that you're finding a way to practice rolling out your mat at home, in your yard, in the back of your car, whether you're doing a breath practice, whether you're sitting in a chant, you're practicing, right? Remember that our yoga is not just asana. It is 8 limbs, and they all come together. So if you're practicing one bit of it, great, you're doing your yoga. Don't let your yoga just be your down dog or your triangle pose. Thank you. It was so wonderful to see, at least see some names here who I recognize and love dearly. So good to see you, Erica, Claudia, Deshawn. Namaste.